That is absolutely no. I learned that detail 30 seconds ago. I think they're making it up just to see if I can bring it all to you right now. But hopefully this will be fun. Hopefully you'll like what I have to say. Most people come and they see me talk because like, you're that guy. I've heard what you do. Your job's awesome. Yes, it's fun. I physically get into the space that I'm not supposed to get into. My team is there with me, and we do this in a variety of ways. There's basic covert entry.
So here we have a locked door.
So
we're just going to travel.
Let's say about you're slipping a latch on the door here. This is a water pumping facility. This is literally their outside perimeter door. That is not supposed to happen.
Let's do it.
Office doors. This was actually at another SANS event. A fellow named Tyler was filming us for a special. He's like, I've heard about this covert entry thing. Show me how it works. And he says, that's weird. He's not even near the door lock. Well, I'm popping this door through what's called an under door technique. And it happened so fast, the camera guy was like, can we do that again? I don't understand what just happened. How'd that door open? Doors just kind of pop open around me sometimes. One of the more favorite videos of mine, this silly video, a bank late at night. My wife and I had walked out of a bar. I still had a whiskey with me, so. If you've never seen that before, that's triggering the rec sensor on the inside of the door. Not the cleanest way of doing that. You don't do that on a job, but, it's lulzy on YouTube, whoever keeps upvoting it. So people want to do this. People want to be the person who breaks in. And I get that. I can dig on that. However, a lot of people will come up and say, man, I wish I had that red teaming thing going on. That would be so much fun. This is not red teaming. Nothing you just saw in any of those videos was red teaming whatsoever. And red teaming gets really overused as a term. And there's people way smarter and better looking than me who have called people out on this before. You have Nickerson, you have Gates, you have Dave Kennedy. There was talks about the purple team. So like you have Carlos Perez, you have Chris Gates again with who was he with? Dayton Johnson. Like the idea of purple teaming. Well, not everything is red teaming because purple is the new hotness. It's like the blue team, but the red team, and then magic and cyber and things. And I get the idea that we should be talking about the idea of a purple team. If you want to, you'll see purple later in the slides. But just calling anything a purple team or calling anything a red team. I think Gates had the best quote. He's like, well, that's when you put a red teamer in the SOC and then you just charge double for the pen test. Then you're purple teamed. Right on. Maybe. I mean, there's no official definition for a lot of this stuff, so anybody could sell you anything. Let's first talk about the blue side. Let's talk about defense. Let's talk about the fact that security has 3 elements. And there's always 3 elements to your security. They are, of course, your little padlock, your ones and zeros, and a guy in a suit. And if you think I'm kidding, look at all the stock images. Every time, it's your padlock, it's your ones and zeros, and your guy in a suit to protect you from the guy who's not in a suit. Now, as funny as this is, and I've literally curled stock image sites and kept finding this sort of imagery, it's crazily enough not the furthest thing ever from the truth. The 3 elements to security kind of are represented in those iconography. You have digital security. There's your ones and zeros, right? You've got the network rack. You've got whatever you're doing on your network, segmentation, firewall rules, etc. You have physical security, literally the locks, the doors, the walls that prevent people from getting where they shouldn't, mostly me. And what's the last person? The guy in a suit represents trustworthiness. He represents, well, the human element. Your people, your staff, should be well trained to understand security. Many times we talk about the human surface as the weakest surface. But other people like Nickerson and so forth for years have said, well, where these surfaces blend and cross over, that's where attacks can get really juicy. For example, a badge system, a physical access control system. Like, is that physical security? Is that electronic security? It's kind of both. Who really owns it? Who manages it? Those juicy overlap spots, that's where he used to talk about attacking all the time. And the super intersection in the middle, it's red. It's like, is that where the red team lives? I don't know. It's red. Well, let's dive into this a little more. Attacking the physical vector. These are all things we do, or all things we know people who do. I myself, some friends in the back you're going to hear from later, we've all done this sort of work. Like, okay, lock picking. If you've never tried lock picking, by all means, we will teach you. We're the only SANS class, I think, that does lock picking, actual hands-on with all kinds of electronic tools later. But oh yeah, I picked a lock. Now this looks like a real crummy lock. Anybody who's known locks is, why is he showing that terrible lock? That's not impressive. Well, anyone who knows, this is usually the lock that controls the most important thing in the building, which is the key cabinet. You get all your expensive locks and keys, put them behind the worst lock ever, and be like, you're good. Lunch, right? Or don't even pick the lock at all. You know, this is, again, this is latch slipping with a piece of garbage. And a server room. That was a piece of plastic trash. If you didn't see my talk last year, when I talked about how I get in on a lot of physicals, this was an example. We talk all about how latch slipping works, and doors should be anti-thrust or anti-Lloyd. Now, the physical side is what I talk about a lot. I don't talk as much about the digital side, but I'm willing to bet many people in here have this sort of skill set. Would not be surprised that we do as well, even though it's not as fun. It's hard to show a good video, right? Like, they click it, and something happens, lightning bolts, right? Like, that's just pwned. Again, it's not a good live demo, right? But we understand this. We understand that the digital surface is another attack surface, and this is what some people go for. Now, I said physical access control systems, badge systems, they're kind of in the middle. Are you about to see a digital attack, or are you about to see a physical attack? If you've never heard of what's going on here, if you're not aware of what's happening here, this is the access control credential reader to this server room. We've taken it off its mounting. Not set off any tamper alarms. Why? Because tamper's not hooked up. Why? Because it's never hooked up. And Bobak here, our electronics guy, he's installing a microchip, about a little circuit board. It's about the size of a postage stamp. It's called an ESP key. And this is going to just sniff all the badge system traffic to and from this reader, ostensibly just from this reader. This is a one-way, unidirectional protocol. But he's going to sniff all that traffic and be able to communicate with our sniffer via Wi-Fi from anywhere within about 50 yards of this door. And in future, we can come back, check all the badge data, dump all the badge data that it's seen, replay it. We can deny of service the door. We've done that before. Just pretend the door isn't working. And after 15, 20 minutes of frustration and security guards staring at each other, you walk up with a logo on your shirt that's the same as the integrator. And you're like, oh, you're having trouble with your door, huh? So again, is that a physical attack, though? Is that a digital? Hell, I even described a human attack. Another sort of digital door system. This is more electronic, right? This is just cloning a badge into someone's hand. It's my wife. She and I both have implants, so we can clone credentials all the time to our fingers. So that worked pretty well, too. Again, she looks perfectly normal. She's not holding up a Proxmark or something to the door, but she's not officially authorized to get in that building. The human vector, plenty of people. Who's taken securing the human? Plenty of people have gone through securing the human at SANS. We know a lot about social engineering. We know a lot about how to spot it. If somebody's trying to pass themselves off like they don't belong, can you identify that? Now, we laugh, right? But this is the sort of thing that works in the real world. This was a robbery. I don't know if anyone has seen this news footage. This was in Oklahoma? Yes, this was in Bristow, Oklahoma. This is a guy who showed up at a Walmart, said he was here for the daily take with Loomis, and he walked out with $75,000. And he didn't get it. He was not from Loomis. He got into a Lumina and drove away. But he was wearing like a weight belt and I think an airsoft, rig. And he just kind of kept his head down. Oh, I'm here to do the thing. Later, they found there was some collusion with an insider who told him, like, this is when you should come and look kind of like this guy. But again, no one else in the whole store, security, nobody questioned it. He's not stealing a TV. That's 75 grand. This is my favorite video of just look like you belong there, though. This cat he's working, right? He's working for a beverage company or something. No, he is walking through grocery stores. He hit like 5 grocery stores in Alabama in a weekend. He just walks in and steals a ton of beer and leaves. He's leaving with all the beer. But like, I would walk right by him and probably not notice. Just, oh, all right, that's the guy who's got a matching colored hat, right? He's doing something that involves work. Look like you belong there is one of the main things we talk about when we train on social engineering. If you're the phone guy, oh, I'm here to fix the whatever, and all right, just kind of be disinterested. You're going to see some real good social engineering, hopefully, in these stories. Because I want to tell you a few stories from the job, and I want you to tell me later on your thoughts about them. So story number 1, the elevator repair technician, all right? Elevator repair technician is a great cover story, by the way. They only come to most buildings on your semi-annuals. They're not really recognizable by most staff. They're known as those people who sort of show up and, I think I might give them a key, but then I don't see them for a few hours, and then somehow they drop the key off. I don't know when they leave. I don't really ever spot them. So a person in an elevator, if they're like, oh, excuse me, this one, we're working on this one. Oh, I'll catch the next one. You don't think about that. They're almost invisible. And if you want to be an elevator repair tech, some people in this room witnessed this before with me. 3 things you can remember. Anybody can kneel down at the e-phone and do an emergency phone test and not really screw anything up. You're not breaking any laws. You kneel down, get your clipboard, get your metal clipboard, so you can look all sophisticated like any contractor. You press the e-phone button. An actual e-phone test involves 3 things. 1, the first person who answers, sometimes it's a machine, but sometimes it's a human. Hey, this is a test. I am performing a test on an emergency phone. All right? Step 2, can you hear me right now? And you can draw that out as long as you want. If you're nervous, you're trying to calm yourself down. Wait, I can't hear you. Can you hear me again? Just, all right, we can hear each other. And the doozy, the zinger, step 3, can you identify where I am calling from? Which is, it's nuts, because so many times, depending on how phones are wired, you'll get people who cannot. And this happened on a job. You know, we actually assumed it was going to Otis Line or some service. No, it was an internal extension. It just went to the security desk. And this guy was like, yeah, I can hear you. What's up? I was like, okay, can you identify where I'm calling from? He's like, what? I said, sir, I have to ask, can you identify where I'm calling from? Well, my phone, he had a display, you know, he's like, it just says elevator. I said, okay, so Kevin, he gave me his name, Kevin, you can't identify where I'm calling from. I mean, I don't know. I'm like, it's okay, don't worry, Kevin, we just have to write these things down. It's no problem at all. We're just going to make a log in the entry here, okay. All right, Kevin, well, thanks very much for the test. He goes, what do I do? I'm like, that's all right, Kevin, someone will be in touch. You know, and this came into play later. But yeah, you're never going to break anything. It's fine. Have your contractor clipboard, you know, put a bunch of stuff on it, put a bunch of stuff in it that you can use to do other bypassing and snack in the elevator. So we're in this building, right? We get into a building. I think we just, you know, hit a rec sensor or slipped a latch. We got in pretty easy. But a teammate had to go back to the hotel. There was a, you know, an electronic unit to the test as well. Like, oh yeah, we got in already. Holy crap. We should bring the drop box so we can go ahead and pop it in whatever room we get into. I'm like, all right, I got nothing but time. I'm just going to hang out in the elevator. And he's like, how many tests of the e-phone are you going to do? I'm like, I got this. So if you've ever seen my talk on elevator hacking, I just took out my elevator control keys and I just disabled the elevator. I just put it on independent. I'm like, dude, you take your time at the hotel. I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to read Twitter. It is fine. I've spent hours. I've moved chairs into elevators before, just hidden there. Because no one notices, you know, hey, how come elevator 6 hasn't come all day, Charlie? Isn't that weird? No one says that. You just get on whatever elevator came. So things at the hotel were a little slow. There was a problem with like the keyboard. I think working with the box, it wound up the USB keyboard didn't work, or like on-screen keyboard. If you've never set up a script using on-screen keyboard, yay. But you know, I'm fine. I'm just hanging out in the elevator. I'm just, hey man, how's it going? No, I'm really getting caught up here. I'm always behind on Twitter. But then I nearly had a heart attack because it sounded like someone was pounding, like banging on the hoistway doors. And I jumped out of my own skin. And I went, all right, calm down. This is like when you're camping, like in the everything sounds loud in the woods. It's just a squirrel, you know. No, and I'm like, all right, Steve, it's like 5:15. The cleaners have to be here. They're Windexing their fingerprints on the hoistway doors. That's what that must have been. Whew. No one's shouting, saying, hey, let me in. I'm fine. I'm not burned. Turns out it wasn't the cleaners. Turns out it was security. Now, I wasn't roasted. I was fine, but something hilarious turned out to have happened. Teammate comes back. He's like, all right, let's rock this. And now everyone's out of the office, so we have the free run of the place. I'm like, oh, no, security might still be here. But he pulls up, hits me a message. I go downstairs, pop out of the elevator. The door's right here. And as I'm letting in and I look, I had been in the elevator so long that security came by after hearing reports that it literally wasn't working, and they just put a sign up that said, this elevator is out of service. Use North Bank, elevators. Which turned out to be in our favor because now it's an empty building. What are two people doing it at night? Security happened to come down a hall a few minutes later, sees us, sees me with my like little Otis badge and so forth, and he goes, wow, you guys got here fast. I'm like, oh yeah, well, you're paying for that elite care service, so let's see if we can get her chooching again here. Oh, well, let's do some things with keys and, makes buzzy noises and it, oh, look, the elevator door is opened. Oh, all right, it looks like we're good, man. We got that elevator working. He's like, great, that was annoying. I had people calling me all day about this. Yeah, she does that. We'll put a ticket in there. We'll make sure everything's tip-top. Let's check out I'm going to check the controller logs. Sometimes if there's a fault in the elevator, they might, it might be on this one box that you probably have. Where's your network room? Guard was our best friend. Gave us escorted access, showed us around. So yeah, groovy, right? That's awesome. Because everyone wants to keep the elevator working. Obviously, trust your friendly elevator person. Now, story number 2. Keep these in mind, though. That's not my phone. Who's got a phone going off? What's that? Doing your recon, if you want to be somebody, just walk around a building, do some open document searches, find out who services them for anything. Even if you don't have the exact name of their integrator or their internet company, pick a name even that just anybody's heard of. We have shirts. We have badges. We have plenty of, I'm not sure who this company uses because we were hired on a last-minute job, but I'm pretty sure, this is someone they've known. Deck yourself out and say, all right, well, we're ready to go. Well, this is, in fact, what we did for recon of a job. We were thrown in at the last minute. We said, all right, we'll do our best here. We'll take it. On big proper jobs, we want a lot of recon time, but all right, let's just walk around the building at night. Let's get the lay of the land. Let's figure out what this building looks like. So 2 of us are out there. We're in our technician shirts. We're just, okay, have you tried this door? All right, I'm not seeing anything. I saw this alarm might be enabled on this building. We're just BSing. And then Bobek, we're like, hey, what's that truck down there? Was that truck there before? I don't think that truck was there before. It's, it's 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, that looks like a security truck off in the distance. It, in fact, was a little dome light. We're like, that's a security truck. All right. Ooh, what's that guy out there by that other building? Nobody's around. He's walking to each door. That's a guard. Ooh, that's a guard. Now, it's late, right? It's late. It's dark. We see a guard. The guard has not seen us. What's the best plan? Say again? Yes. A lot of our students say hide or go back to the hotel. Approach. Absolutely. Make a new friend. You're the only person out in that parking lot next to him. In case he has seen you, be a, hey, wave your arms, walk up to him. Absolutely what we did. We're like, hey, man, how's it going? Look, this is building 9, isn't it? Of course it is. A giant 9 on the building, right? He's like, look, we're just trying to get here. Is Phil Mickerson, the chief of whatever we made up in the middle of this conversation in this building? He's a manager here, right? It's a third-party contractor in a huge parking lot. It always is. They're not going to know who the heck is the manager of what. It's like, Phil is the what? And we're like, look, there's supposed to be a truck roll coming through tonight. There's a whole big fiber run that we just got pulled off a job on the other side of the city. We can't know, is this place like 9 to 5, or is somebody supposed to be in there? He's like, oh, no, it's regular hours, 9 to 5. No one's ever in there at night getting information. We're like, all right, man, so you haven't seen a big bucket truck, obviously, out here, right? He's like, no, I haven't seen anything like that. So Bobek pretends to get frustrated, get on a fake phone call. He's like, yeah, no, I'm out here. No, of course Steve's not here. No, I'm with, what's your name, man? I'm with Gerard from First Security. He hasn't seen a truck all night. No, we tried the number on the work order for Phil. No, he's not answering. Well, I don't know what you want us to do. You pulled us all the way over here. Do you want us to go back to Main Street? All right, we'll stay. All right, man. All right, well, call me back. We're like, look, man, I'm so sorry about this. And we're like, obviously, Gerard, you can't let us in here. We wouldn't ask you for that because you don't want to push too far. No, I couldn't do that. We're like, no, that's all right, man. This is a freaking situation. All right, is there a Wawa, 7-Eleven, someplace just get a cup of coffee around here? Hopefully this gets squared away. He gives us an address. Now, do you think he verified anything we were saying? No. Do you think he even really had a mechanism to verify anything we were saying? Again, he's looking over like 9 different companies' buildings in a parking lot. He doesn't know who the heck to call. And it's 2 guys in, Verizon polos. Fine. Now, of course, 20 minutes later, we just come back. We know he's gone. I think in the conversation we even asked, we're like, well, are you on all night? Or he's like, oh, yeah, I come around every 2 hours, but I haven't seen anything. Oh, okay, well, we know. So we just come back, and we did get into the building. How did we get into the building? Again, it's always low tech. If you saw my talk last year, it's always latch slipping or something to that effect. If you don't have one of these little hook tools, by all means, ask me about them. It's my favorite thing to carry around, because why take my picks out when you can just work on a door that's improperly hung? $5 hook, boom, get you through everything half the time. So we're in the office, right? We're running over, like, all right, we know it's empty because we just had that confirmed. We know he's not coming back for a few hours. And we got the run of the place. And we're trying more doors. We're trying to use that under door tool on a server room. Okay, we're almost in the server room, except I'm working on this door. Bobek Comes running down the hall. He's like, dude, someone's here. Put that away. I like kind of kick this thing onto the door a bit. And I just, oh yeah, so the drop ceiling and the conduit. And sure enough, someone does come around the corner. It's Gerard, our good friend, the guard. And he's way earlier than 2 hours. It's only been about 35, 40 minutes. First things out of his mouth are not, hey, how did you get in? B, what are you doing here? Anything like that. First words out of his mouth, oh, you guys must have found Phil. Yes, we did, Gerard. Thank you for your observation and your kindness. What can we do for you, though? He's like, oh, well, were you guys holding a door open at one point? Because after 30 seconds, they alarm. Have you been propping a door open? Like, I was propping a door open. I was going out to my car, which I wasn't. I mean, I was actually opening doors elsewhere in the building without properly shorting out the contacts. But literally, the client did not believe. We told them the next day. We're like, oh yeah, we talked with your the guys, and they're like, no way. They pulled the tickets, and they actually had these log entries from First Security saying, you know, door 21J, alarm condition, no sign of forced entry. Door 21J, alarm, no problem with door. Perhaps the door sensor was wrong. Ultimately, culminating multiple times, this guy had come out checking doors in. Can't find any signs of forced entry. Verizon is working in the building. I have informed them to not prop doors open. And it blew the client's mind that we could have actually interacted with a guard. They're like, how did you not just get caught? I'm like, well, you know, who wouldn't trust it? Look, we don't look shady at all, of course. We're nice guys. I got these little Verizon polos from some lady in my street that just makes clothing. So great, right? All right, third story, the armed guard story. Most security guards are pretty untrained. I mean, we just had a story of guards that are not always sharp because it's not their job. It's their job to notice literally the black hooded criminal making off in the night with a big thing under their coat. I'm not sure exactly what security guards are trained to do, mostly just observe for broken windows and then call authorities. They're certainly not trained to presume someone will just act like they belong there. I mean, you'd think that this was a front desk where just no one was at the desk. I just sat at the security guard station, picked up the book of keys, hung out, waited to get called. Sometimes you just want to see how long it'll take, and I got bored after 20 minutes and left. So a lot of guards aren't always on the ball, right? Armed guards usually are. In order to be authorized, they have a lot more training. There's a lot more hours they have to go through. They're sharp. Now, we were on a gig, and we needed to grab electronic credentials. This was a building that was buttoned up pretty tight. No real way to slip latches, no real way that we thought to pick or anything. And even if we did, we didn't want to set off door contact sensors. We're like, we need credentials for an event. Otherwise, the access control system is going to go nuts. Well, if you've ever seen any of our electronic stuff before, if you've ever seen, what we call the hunt pad, we weaponize long-range HID readers, put a battery pack in them, put a nice little extra Arduino in them, talk to them. These are long-range credential grabbers. Long range in the world of procs is, 2 feet, 18 inches maybe. But this is a weaponized read grab, right? This is a little bag in Dennis's shoulder. He sits down, pretends he's working on his phone. Oh, yeah? Oh, okay, I'll meet you around the corner, guys. Yeah. That's a credential grab. We've done it a billion times. We know we could do it. We knew what types of credentials they were using. That's another reason my wife and I enjoy having the chips in our hands. One that I keep always written to is just like HID procs. So if there's a multi-class reader, a nice I-class SE multi-class, I'm like, I wonder if they have credentials that are legacy enabled. Beep. Well, we know somebody's using procs, even though you paid for the brand new reader. So we knew they were using procs. We knew we could grab the procs. We get this hunt pad all ready to go. We're like, all right. Well, the building is pretty buttoned up. I mean, there's only a lobby, right? That's all they've got. And sometimes employees come and go, but it's not going to work real well. I don't know. If we have to go in there, there's just a bunch of security guards in there. There's like 3 of them at the desk. What are we going to do? Well, what do many armed guards dream of becoming one day? Yes, they dream of being officers usually. So what do? Well, you send in a cop. We got a guy on our team who used to be on the job. We gave him a new life, gave him a new identity with us, but he was like, I can get in there and cop it up. Give me this bag. So they drive up, middle of the night, right in front of this facility. Can't park way far away in the parking lot because that looks weird while you're walking across a parking lot. Had to pull right up to the front, but it was hard because Bobak was in the car in the back seat under some coats. And he is communicating remotely with the badge software on the reader that he's installed. He's like, all right, I'm going to see what I can get. He's going to text Robert if he gets a good... And Robert's going, okay. Rob keeps trying. He keeps talking. By the time he gets into the lobby, it's so far back, all the signals dropped out on the Bluetooth. So Bobak has no idea what's going on. He's blind. But Robert's just trying. Robert's just trying. He's not listening for a beep, because we turn off the beep. You don't want to do that, obviously. That'd be a little weird. But he's, all right, so okay, guys, well, yeah, I'm here just working with this project this week, and he's making up stories about why they brought him in to advise on legal something. But every time he gets close to these guards, again, their strong side blade back. Every time he would get close, they would just, by their training, just blade off. And their badges were all on their hips, so he couldn't get near them. And he tried, like, laying his bag on a bench. He's like, or the tabletop. He's like, hey, is this a good restaurant? It's the only thing that Yelp says is open, hoping that one of them would lean over it. None of that was working. So finally, at the end of the day, he's like, all right, I've been in here like an hour. It's only so much small talk you can make before it's weird. All right, guys, well, it's nice meeting you. You know, thanks for everything. Hopefully I'll see you if I'm around this week. And this last guard, who had kind of been the friendliest, Robert's like, come here, you. Swings the bag, man hugs him to, like, make it awkward. Like, it was like a second or two, you know. He really gives him what for. He's like, all right, well, I'll see you later, dog. And gets out of the car. And then I was like, that was weird. Gets out to the car. Bobak is still under the coats. And he's like, what took you so long? He's freezing. You can't leave a car running. I'm like, well, they drove to like a gas station down the block. Pulled the SD card to get the Bluetooth up. He's like, dude, you got one read. You were in there an hour. You got one read. But who do we have? Security at that point. And then it was game over. One little HID credential. We went back the next day with cloned badges. Everybody could get in. Elevator was used to lock out certain floors. If you've ever seen me talk elevator hacking, bypass the elevator controls, exited out a different set of doors, found their most important infrastructure room, picked the lock on that, and we got right up to the network. We you can like lay hands, take a picture. All right, we're not going to touch your network, but we proved we could. So, of these three stories, which scenario was red teaming? Some people apply the all surfaces litmus test. You have to hit, digital, physical, human. So let's think about that, all right? So if we got into a building, I met a guard, I used a cover identity, and was granted escorted access everywhere. I'd call this social engineering. Didn't really do a lot of physical or digital stuff here. So was this a red team engagement? No. I would not call it that. Story number 2. The cable technicians, right? Well, we're here from Verizon, and we've got to do some things. We befriended a guard. The guard let us in. Then later on, the guard didn't let us in. We let ourselves in, right? We used the latch slipping and everything else. We got under the door. Okay, that's a blended attack. Multiple surfaces. Is this a red team engagement? I want to hear voices. Yeah, how about no? No, I would not call it that. Story number 3, the armed guards. So we made that hunt pad, going to get in, establish some rapport, managed to grab a digital credential, got a new badge, came back the next day, overrode more security, picked locks, got into the server room, hands on the rack, didn't touch the network side, but demonstrated it. Was this a red team engagement? No, it was not, in my opinion. Why? Why not? Any guesses? Some people I could hear whispers. Some people latch on the fact that something was out of scope. I said, the network was out of scope. I wasn't allowed to get on the network. The question of how much scope you have, everyone loves to latch onto this. Is that what makes something a red team engagement? The idea that, red teamers have no scope. The attackers don't have scope, man, so you can't have scope as a red teamer. This is a common argument, right? It's one that I've made in the past. And I think it's BS, and I'm here to say that. Scope absolutely has a place in a red team engagement if the resource you are modeling the attack of has a limited surface in some fashion. If you are modeling a very particular type of attack, like if you're a company and you're working for, NIA and you're going to test bulletproof vests, and you're like, all right, pew, 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 pew. Oh, this soft body armor holds up pretty well. Everyone on their security team has that one a-hole friend who's like, oh, we're going to test bulletproof vests. Well, let me tell you about how badass I am. Because look at this thing. You think this guy, look, our vendor lies. Bulletproof. Well, look, let's use my freaking Austrian 40-millimeter can. Think that's a bulletproof vest? Come on, pull my leg. Everyone's known a red teamer like that. What were you testing to begin with? You don't know more than the client. You don't know what you're trying to model if you're not listening to them. Maybe they're modeling a completely different threat than that. Listen to them, otherwise you're not adding value. What the client ultimately cares about, and what I bet a lot of people in this room who are on the defense side are frustrated because you care about and people don't listen, is a given vuln going to cost money or make someone look bad? Now this sounds very political, but it's true. Unless you can demonstrate, physically demonstrate, this will cost me money or make me look bad, and sometimes they're related, obviously. If you can't demonstrate that as an attacker, you have no value to the client. That person, oh look, I blew away your bulletproof vest with my cannon. Yes, thank you. Cannon-based assailants are not in our risk model. Thank you for wasting. Did you bill us for that? How much did you rent that? Am I going to see a line item for that on the billable? Thanks. Your job as a red teamer is, yes, of course, to think unconventionally. You are supposed to be attacking across all surfaces. That's part of the nature of the gig. But you are supposed to model the relevant threat. And if you've missed the word relevant, you need to spend more time on your kickoff call paying attention and not playing like, desert golf or something on your phone. Demonstrate impact is a huge one. None of the theoretical stuff, I think, really belongs in a lot of the deliverable reports I see. Well, in theory, an attacker could have pivoted to, and Chris Nickerson is always a fan of saying, well, did you do it? Well, the attacker could have yeah, but did you do it? No? Then shut up. Demonstrate the actual impact. But there's one more thing. It's one more thing we've been dancing around this whole time. What is missing from my list? Who should always show up and be with the red team? The blue team. You should be integrating. This is what makes a red team engagement. This is what makes you not just a person knocking things down. I love the sparring analogy, and you've heard it before. If you're doing adversarial modeling, but never talking to the people who are getting beat up, their value add isn't there. This might as well be a red team test half the time. One team comes in, is wildly more strong than the person they're just going to wail on. And they just pound them in the face repeatedly. And the person tries to get up and knocks back, ooh, boom. And here's your, yes, that's your deliverable report. Look, I'm awesome. Perfect. And then you get hired back 6 months later. The red team is still as strong as they were. The blue team still as weak as they were. The whole thing plays out the same exact way with all the same flaws, all the same faults, and all the same results. Perfect. Yay, aren't you badass? You literally could screenshot this and just, here you go, here's my deliverable. That's half the time. Look at me, I'm awesome. Wrecked you. This is what you want. The end goal is not just to beat people up and get the high score. The end goal is for the blue team to start hitting you back. And if you're not building this into your jobs, this is not the same value add that it could be. Most people, when we plan jobs, all right, I'm going to prep, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to go bananas, and I'm going to write a report. Or those of you who get pivoted from job to job to job to job to job, your schedule's honestly more like this. And you're like doing laundry, a Holiday Inn, and then all right, boom to the next one, boom to the next one. And I understand our lives are tight and our schedules are tight. But build time in to do after action with the blue team. It's so rewarding. A couple of quick examples of that. What are we doing here? We've got a long pole with a mirror. We're using a bright light up against a server room door. We talked about a type of sensor earlier in my stories. What kind of sensor am I identifying here? Anyone see it? It's a very little sliver of a dot. What is that? It's a door contact sensor. Most door contacts are magnetic. And whenever this door opened to the server room, the access control system should know about it. Well, we literally walked the client through. We said, all right, can we have some people from the SOC come down to the data center today? And we showed them, we're like, well, this is what we did. We put a piece of plastic with a dot magnet on it. This is how I bypassed your sensor. And we're showing them, the door is on, the door is off. Blew their minds. And they were like, we never thought about that. We can configure this a little differently. It turns out we were disturbing the magnet just a hair. They're like, yeah, we could turn up our sensitivity window so it alarms after a second, not 5 seconds. I'm like, yes, do that. Bobak is in the wiring closet with them. He's saying, well, how come I can unplug this one door contact input? This should be a monitored input. There's no way. If the circuit goes dead, it should alert. It shouldn't just alert when the sensor enunciates. Like, well, I don't know, what does that mean? And Bobek sat there with their integrator and was like, all right, on the phone with the SOC. He's like, all right, door contact 12 is off, is on. Was there an alert? No. Door contact 13, oh, you got an alert? Okay, 13 is wired correctly. How about 14? We're the red team, and we're doing the blue team job. They had on all of their doors at this one facility for like reasons of emergency, all their credential readers also had near them these extra little key switches. I've never seen that. It looks kind of homebrew, but I'm sure I know what it is. I'm like, these are override locks, right? Like, oh yeah, they came with the building, but we never have to use them because we've never lost power. I said, okay, let's just see what one is. We took the front, screws off, looked inside. Now, all right, it's just a cam lock that comes around and hits a momentary switch. Again, nothing really sophisticated here. There's another little momentary button right here, though. What is it? It's a tamper, right? Do you think that tamper did anything? No, 90% of the time it did not. But we went around, again, on the phone with the SOC. We're like, all right, you're going to see some noise, possibly. Or not? Okay, not. Mark this one down as not. And we went around to the next one and the next one. Even though we had gotten in, this is great value for all of them. Oh my God, the fingerprint reader. We can ask me in the Q&A. I'll tell you more about the fingerprint reader. But literally, taking it off the wall, installing an ESP key, no tamper alarms, even though the company insisted up and down that they had tamper on the data center readers. We're like, you really don't. And they would never have known this until we hit all the different hall doors. And they were like, oh my God, every single one of these does not work the way we thought it did. The next day, they had their integrator out there servicing, and they were changing it up. They were really moving fast to get the problem fixed. That would have taken 6 months after maybe someone had passed a report to somebody who didn't even read it. But that's if you're lucky. Spending a couple extra days on site with a few shot callers makes such a huge difference. So please interface with the blue team. That is what your job should be as a red teamer. Now, I'm not going to just, shame, finger wag. I'm going to give a little bonus gift to the attackers out there. Some of you have seen me talk about telephony systems before, front gate systems. You've seen them in some of these videos. Some of you may remember that I often talk about the fact that they're all key-to-like. I've talked in the past about what keys they are used to get in there. If you've never seen my, Deviant super everyday key ring, I'm going to reveal it. All of these systems, these are all default keys. These are all, like this is the Door King system. Absolutely one of the most common front door telephony systems. Door King, all is the 16120 key. Linear boxes, all the same key. Once you're inside, there's a whole lot of trickery you can do. Again, why am I doing anything that looks strange with a latch and an under door tool when in fact I can just walk up to the system? Technically, there should be a tamper alert when you open the front case. Never seen one in my life. Anyway, Door King key.
So you're going to get a momentary switch behind that tailpiece.
Literally just that simple on most of these systems that have, how many people have been in a building that's had one of these boxes out front by some brand? You've seen them, they're out there. Absolutely. I have a bunch of useful keys. You've seen me maybe talk about the CH751. It is America's any key, everything key. The dopey cam lock, this is a generator that somebody, oh look, our building's generator is a CH7. Oh, our medical storage. Oh, our flame, cabinet. The CH751, literally the key that just goes to stuff you would never imagine. When a company is building a thing and they say, we need a lock, half the time it's a CH. This is a snowcat, literally. People send me photos all the time now with the hashtag CH751 with crazy crap that this key works on. It is the most popular key in America. And if that applies to, your cabinetry keys, your circuitry cabinets. This key box, why did I show it to you earlier? I didn't actually pick this key box. Yeah, it's a CH751. And extra awesome is that there are no less than 3 more CH751s inside this key box for other stuff around the building. If you've seen me talk about what the key to vehicle systems and things, 1284X, what is that? The 1284X key is Ford Motor Company's fleet key. You would be astounded how many black and whites right now in this country are keyed to 1284X. Door, trunk, and ignition. These are all common keys that the industry kind of knows about in code books, but you don't talk much about. My new favorite, though, that I've added to my key ring, this lock. A lot of you have seen it, even if you don't know you've seen it. It's this lock. The most popular industrial cabinetry brand for rack systems, for big racks, is by EMKA. EMKA has essentially 3 keys in their whole product line, essentially. The 333, the 222, the 2233. Real original naming. They got bored at the end, like, what do we call the third one? I don't know, man. It's 546. I want to leave. Call it 2233. 2233X, because it's extreme. It's extremely easy to pick. But I mean, again, you don't have to pick these locks. You don't have to look like a person who doesn't belong there. You just have the key. These are well-known keys. This is my everyday carry set now. This is a little keeper that I ordered on Amazon, tucked it all in together nice-like. And we can think about red teaming as it applies to all the different surfaces, right? The FEOK1 is the most popular elevator key out there. It's the one that I used on that job with the elevator tech, right? The EK333, that digital cabinetry key, I either look like I belong there or I'm actually servicing the digital cabinet stuff. Oh, I'm going to change these settings, but I look like I belong there. I got that key. 222343, that's the linear key. Again, I can get into the physical system. C415A and CH751, those are just super generic, cabinet keys that I always want to have on me. 16120, that's your door king. That's, again, another physical access control system, kind of a foot in both worlds, digital, physical. Jigglers, well, if you've never taken a physical course with us, we'll talk about jiggling locks open. This will get you through a lot. And I do have that 1284X because it's hilarious showing fellas on the job that their roller is not as secure as they think. But this is my usual smash. This is what I have in my pocket at all times. Yes, the slides will be up later. Some of you are writing. Some of you are wondering, what's this dangly bit? Anybody want to guess? Also useful on weird physical stuff, that's a jumper wire loop. Because if you get inside of various cabinets and you're a little bit bold, you can just start shorting things out if you know how the circuit block works. No more rummaging on the ground for paper clips. I started just carrying my wire loop. So again, we got another door king system. Door is locked. 16120 is going to let me in. It's not wired for postal service access, but I know which contacts on the terminal block to use. Loop a wire, door open. So absolutely, keeping one of these around, keeping this folded up, tucked away in your pocket, I recommend it. You can buy all these keys online one place or another. They're not hard to find, and they can make your job a lot easier. If you want to learn anything else about this, we're always happy to be at SANS Orlando. If you're local, is just around the corner. They told me to remind people that we're an odd duck, right? You don't think of taking out circuits and taking out data streams of a badge system, like dissecting that in a classroom. We do talk about this kind of thing. It's a little bit of a niche topic, but we're happy to share details about it with you if you ever want to learn. So in conclusion, a friend of mine, Patrick, had a really cool infographic about this where he says people will throw the term pen test, and I even think red team around a lot nowadays. Untangle this terminology, really decide what it is you want, and then make sure the team you're hiring is going to deliver what you want. This blog post he put up, it was just really all about everyone understanding each other on a kickoff call, and it got all these thumbs up, and very deservedly so, where he says, your job is to not be the biggest badass you think you are. Your job is to be the value add to the team that hired you. So keep working together, work with the blue team. The red team works with the blue team to make everything better together. It's fun getting in. Getting caught is the goal. So hopefully that's the kind of value you can get out of people, or if you do this kind of work, that's the kind of value you can bring to the table. And thank you for letting me talk about this. This was fun.